Welcome back to Mindshift Inspirations, your space for clarity, calm, and deep personal growth. In episode 1, we explored what emotional intelligence is and why it matters. Today, we're going even deeper, right to the very foundation of emotional intelligence itself. You see, before the term emotional intelligence became popular through best-selling books and corporate workshops, it began quietly in academic circles. In 1990, two brilliant psychologists, Peter Salovey and John Mayer, introduced a model that changed everything. They proposed that emotions weren't just irrational interruptions, they were actually a form of intelligence. Their four-branch model of emotional intelligence laid the foundation for decades of emotional research, education, and personal development practices. This episode is dedicated to that model, its origin, meaning, and practical application. We'll explore each of the four branches. 1. Perceiving emotions. 2. Using emotions to facilitate thought. 3. Understanding emotions. 4. Managing emotions. Each branch builds on the last, starting from the ability to notice emotions to the powerful capacity to guide them intentionally. Together, they form a full framework that empowers you to live more mindfully, relate more deeply, and make clearer, wiser decisions. Let's begin with how it all started. The origin of the four-branch model. In the late 1980s, most psychologists still viewed emotions as irrational forces, disruptions that interfered with reasoning. Intelligence was seen strictly in terms of logic, memory, and problem-solving, but Salovey and Mayer saw something else. They observed how some people, even with average IQs, were remarkably good at navigating social situations, calming themselves under stress, and understanding others. This wasn't luck or personality trait. It was a different kind of intelligence. In 1990, they published a groundbreaking paper titled Emotional Intelligence, where they outlined a new framework. They proposed that people process emotional information in structured, measurable ways, and that those abilities could be grouped into four areas. Their four-branch model introduced a skill-based approach to emotions. Unlike personality traits, these weren't fixed. They could be improved with intention and effort, making EI not only real but also trainable. Later, Daniel Goleman would expand and popularize these ideas, but the core insight remains. Emotions can be understood, used, and directed like any other form of intelligence. Let's now walk through each of these four branches, beginning with the most fundamental one: perception. Perceiving emotions. What it means. Perceiving emotions is the ability to accurately recognize emotions, in yourself, in others, and even in the environment. It's not just about what is said, but about what is felt. It's noticing tone, facial expressions, posture, gestures, and energy. Think of it as your emotional radar. When this radar is clear and sensitive, you pick up important emotional signals early, before they become problems or misunderstandings. Real-world example. Imagine you're in a meeting. A colleague seems withdrawn, their tone is flat. Their eyes are downcast. No one says anything, but you notice. That subtle awareness, without judgment, is emotional perception. Or think of a friend who smiles but whose eyes are slightly moist and distant. You sense something's off. You ask gently, "Are you really okay?" That question could make all the difference. Inner perception. Equally important is recognizing your own emotions as they arise. Can you name what you're feeling? Not just good or bad, but specifics. Anxious, peaceful, envious, proud. People with high EI have a rich emotional vocabulary. They tune in before their emotions spiral. They recognize, "I'm feeling overwhelmed right now," or "I'm frustrated because I felt ignored." How to develop it. Pause and label your emotions regularly. Ask, "What am I feeling right now?" Observe without judgment. Try to witness feelings as they are, not as you want them to be. Practice listening with your eyes. Watch people's facial expressions and body language as much as their words. Use tools like the emotion wheel to deepen your vocabulary. Key takeaway. You cannot manage what you don't recognize. Perception is the gateway to wisdom. Without it, every other branch of EI is off balance. Using emotions to facilitate thought. What it means. This branch explores how emotions aren't just feelings and they help us think. Emotions can guide attention, support decision-making, and even spark creativity. Rather than being a distraction, feelings often point us toward what matters most. Real-world example. Let's say you feel a sense of unease before making a business decision. That discomfort may reflect something your intuition picked up, perhaps a missing detail or a lack of alignment with your values. Or you might feel energized and inspired after talking with someone. That emotion can fuel clearer focus and innovative thinking. How it works in the brain. Emotions are deeply connected to memory and meaning. When you feel something strongly, your brain pays attention. Salovey and Mayer emphasized that moods and emotions affect our cognitive prioritization, what we choose to focus on, and how we solve problems. How to develop it. Ask, what is this emotion telling me? Every time you feel something strongly, use emotional anchoring. If a song makes you feel focused or confident, use it before important tasks. Notice patterns. Are you more creative when you're relaxed? More productive when excited? Align your work rhythm with your emotional states. Creative use of emotion. Artists, writers, leaders, and innovators often draw power from emotion. Emotions are fuel. When used consciously, they inspire direction and depth. Key takeaway. Emotions are not the opposite of reason. They are often the beginning of it. Emotionally intelligent people know how to let feelings shape thought, not hijack it. 3. Understanding emotions, what it means. This branch is about emotional logic. Understanding emotions means knowing why we feel what we feel, how emotions evolve, and how one emotion can lead to another. It's about decoding the emotional chain reaction, both in yourself and in others. Real-world example. You might feel anger when a friend cancels plans, but as you reflect, you realize the real feeling is disappointment, because you were looking forward to connection. That insight transforms your response. Or a coworker is unusually defensive. Instead of reacting, you consider that maybe they're feeling insecure or unappreciated. Understanding that allows you to respond with empathy instead of irritation. How to develop it. Reflect on your emotional triggers. What feelings come up in repeated patterns? Learn about emotional transitions. Frustration can turn into shame, sadness into apathy, excitement into anxiety. Use journaling to track emotional shifts throughout your day. Ask, what caused this emotion and what happened next? The power of emotional vocabulary. Understanding emotions also means naming them precisely. The more words you have for feelings, the more insight you'll gain. Angry is different from irritated, which is different from betrayed. Empathy through understanding. When we understand emotions, we become more forgiving and compassionate. We stop seeing people's behavior as personal and start seeing it as emotional. Key takeaway. Emotions are not random. They follow patterns. The more you understand them, the more you gain mastery over your responses and deepen your relationships. 4. Managing emotions. The fourth and final branch is the ability to regulate emotions, in yourself and in others. This doesn't mean denying your feelings, but responding to them skillfully. Emotionally intelligent people feel deeply but don't let emotions control their behavior. Real-world example. Imagine receiving critical feedback at work. You feel embarrassed, maybe even angry. But instead of snapping back or shutting down, you pause. You breathe. You ask questions. You stay open. That's emotional management in action. Or your partner is having a stressful day. Instead of trying to fix it or reacting to their mood, you offer calm presence and support. You manage the atmosphere, not just your own emotions. Self-regulation tools. Mindfulness. Pause before reacting. Breathe. Observe. Reframing. Shift from, why is this happening to me, to what can I learn from this? Stress strategies. Exercise, grounding techniques, or talking to someone you trust. Conflict tools. Use I feel and statements rather than blame. Stay curious, not defensive. Managing others' emotions. Leadership, parenting, relationships all require the ability to calm storms. Emotionally intelligent people don't absorb others' emotions blindly. They guide them with empathy and steadiness. Key takeaway. Emotionally intelligent people don't avoid hard feelings. They work with them. They choose their responses. They create emotional safety, first for themselves, then for others. The genius of Salovey and Mayer's four-branch model is its clarity and depth. Each branch builds on the last, from perception to regulation, offering a roadmap for emotional growth. You don't need to master all 4 branches overnight. Start where you are. Maybe you begin with noticing your emotions more honestly. Maybe you start practicing the pause. Every small shift counts. Emotional intelligence isn't something you're born with. It's something you practice, reflect on, and grow into. It's a lifelong journey of becoming more aware, more intentional, and more compassionate. As you step away from this episode, ask yourself, which branch do I feel strongest in? Which one do I want to improve next? What's one small action I can take today to grow? Thank you for joining us in this foundational episode of Mindshift Inspirations. In our next video, we'll explore how Daniel Goleman took this scientific foundation and made emotional intelligence a global movement. Until then, stay present, stay kind, and remember, emotional intelligence is the quiet strength that shapes a meaningful life. Kindly subscribe and turn on notification to be among the first people. YouTube will notify when we upload the next episode. Share with someone today.